I'm really excited to introduce everyone to Jameson Watts. This is the Dean of the School of Computing and Information Sciences here at Willamette University. Jameson's going to walk us through the MSCS, and then both of us will be available for questions after his presentation. Thank you for joining.
Thank you, Hillary, and welcome, everyone. I am presenting from a hotel room down in Eugene, Oregon. I'm giving a talk to the Oregon Economic Development Association tomorrow. So this isn't my normal office, although I do kind of like the wood paneling. So maybe, I'm due for an upgrade out at my Salem office. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. This won't take a huge amount of time, but it is my pleasure to walk you through this new master's degree that we have geared towards those really looking to kind of level up their skills in computer science and get ready for the job market. All right. So I don't know about you, but I've been spending probably a little bit too much time playing with GPT-4. Yes, I did the paid subscription because I want to do all the cool like coding stuff, uploading my scripts, getting it to change images and other things. And so while I was there, I decided to ask the robots, what the heck is computer science anyway? And this is what they gave me. So computer science, it's the study of algorithms and data structures, computer systems, but more broadly, it talks about the principles and techniques to design, develop, and analyze software. And this software plus the systems that it runs on enable computation of one form or another. And of course, importantly these days, the processing of data. So from my opinion, I think this is actually a pretty reasonable definition of computer science, but it's also really, really techy, and it doesn't address everything that I think the modern computer scientist needs to understand in today's complex world. So in the last slide, you probably saw, software and systems on the one hand. This is really where we're concerned with automation, right? So computer science, you're learning to program. That programming is meant to make everyone's lives easier so that we, can just automate processes. That's essentially what programming does in a lot of ways. You also need to kind of figure out the best way to do all of that automation. And this is where kind of algorithms and the formal study of complexity comes in to play. So you're going to look at things like, hey, what's the best way to implement a search algorithm for this product sort on my Amazon page? Or, what's the best way to, route these trucks across the United States to deliver my goods to my customers, right? So algorithms let you do that. Complexity is a way of defining, kind of essentially like how complicated those algorithms actually are, and thus how long they take to actually execute on your system. What's missing, though, is the folks that we're actually doing this stuff for, right? We've got humans, and they are the ones who are looking for products on Amazon and hoping that that delivery truck shows up at their door and gives them their, I don't know, Hillary, what do you think? Waffle iron? What was the latest thing that you ordered from Amazon?
I'm looking for a new wireless keyboard right now, but I need it in the
Oh.
next couple of days.
Well, there you go. There is an algorithm out there for you, routing that wireless keyboard to your house. But think about it from the human perspective, right? When you go onto this website, you want the experience to be pleasurable. You want the experience to be easy. And so you need to focus on user experience. This kind of sits at the intersection between the more kind of abstract study of software and systems and the more concrete application of that software and those systems to some, human outcome. At the same time, we've got these humans doing all kinds of like, oh, I don't know, sometimes nefarious things, sometimes wrong things, sometimes they don't even know they're making a mistake, but they don't or shouldn't have access to some data, or they shouldn't be able to execute some part of a piece of software given their user permissions, etc. And so there's a way of thinking about, how to set up this intersection between kind of the way things are done, right? How things are routed, and then also who's allowed to actually see how these things are routed, among other things, right? So like how data moves around an organization. And so these days, when I talk to professionals out in the marketplace, a lot of what we talk about is ethics and governance. And this is really kind of sitting at that intersection between kind of the way things are done and these human kind of fallibility, but also, our, kind of intentionality as well. Finally, right, ethics and policy. This is a big, big deal now that robots are starting to take over the world. We want to make sure that we have some understanding of what these robots are doing and why they're doing it. When I say robots, I mean things like big complex software programs like ChatGPT-4, many of the other kind of really interesting generative AI things that are going on from OpenAI, like DALL-E, and the big companies like Microsoft and Google who have their own versions of these complex algorithms that they are starting to employ in the service of human needs. And as this goes on, we are uncovering lots and lots of things that are a little bit wrong with it. And there are really, really tough and interesting issues to deal with, like, well, if you want to teach a machine how not to be racist, then you actually have to have data on what it is to be racist so that you can teach the machine how not to be racist. And so really, really intriguing and interesting questions when it comes to some of these large language models, the future of AI, et cetera, dealing with ethics and policy. All right, so why the heck would you even want to do computer science? If what I just told you wasn't cool enough, I will give you some more reasons. Job security. So if you look at the Bureau of Labor Statistics projections for the next decade, basically all major growth in the job market that isn't healthcare is coming from computing and information sciences generally. So projections are for the next decade, more and more of this is going to continue. Really interesting statistic. If you look at just computing and information science jobs, there are more open positions, that is, jobs that have yet to be filled, then there are closed positions, right? Filled positions in every other STEM field combined. So think biology, think chemistry, think physics, think all the engineering disciplines, right? All of those jobs combined in the United States do not equal the number of open positions, unfilled positions in computing and data science and information sciences currently.
So you have to.
Hey Brian, we'll chat in just a moment. All right, let me see. What's next? I mean, this isn't the only reason you should do anything, but it's a nice reason. Median salary of 120 in the US, that's not your starting salary if you're an entry level, but if you have a few years of experience, this is what you can expect. That said, there are wild differences in where our students land. We've had several undergrads that go down to Silicon Valley and then they make more money than God. And we have others that are working, on their dream jobs in nonprofits or for the government and for a good cause, and they're making a bit less. The great news is there's tons of jobs out there. So no matter what direction you want to go, there's some sort of option for you. lot of diverse opportunities. So even though it may seem kind of abstract and mathematical, the truth is tech, computer science, it's applied to almost every part of our lives as humans in some way, shape, or form. And, this includes, of course, artificial intelligence, which has been in the news a lot, but also things like cybersecurity or user experience design, dealing with humans and how they interact with computers. And of course, there's a huge amount of opportunities that folks don't really even pay attention to in technical sales and consulting. So there's a major, major need at the interface between kind of the marketing and business units and the more engineering focused units within an organization. And then if you don't like to sit still, like I don't, turns out technology is always evolving, right? So the half-life on most of the current stuff in computer science is about 5 years. And so you're going to be learning, how to learn in this program, and that will suit you well for a career that requires kind of constant updating of your knowledge because technology is just moving so fast. When I was working as a software developer for 10 years or so before I joined academia, this was one of my favorite parts of the job. I loved, kind of getting my hands dirty and learning all of the new cool stuff that was happening every single year, and keeping my skills fresh, and then bringing that back to my clients and letting them benefit from that knowledge. All right, so how the heck do you actually do this? Well, it's a little bit of computational thinking, so that's some of the algorithms and complexity side of thing. It's definitely software development, so that's basic programming, but also bigger ideas around software development, like unit testing or how you work in teams and other things like that within an enterprise. And then also, of course, networks and systems. So you think about networks and systems as things like cloud computing or systems of computers that are connected to each other, and making software that communicates between different computers so that it forms a network of computers that are combined. And of course, humans, right? We just talked about this, but human-computer interaction, figuring out not just how to do things, but what the heck humans actually even want in the first place. It's not good enough just to build it. You actually have to build something people want, it turns out. And so this is where paying attention to humans, human needs, and understanding the interface between technology and humans is really, really important. All right, so that's an overview of the field and how it's progressing. How does our program fit into all of that? Well, here we go. Basically, a minimum of 9 classes that you can accomplish in as little as 12 months. We've designed this purposefully to be accessible to students who don't have a computer science undergraduate degree. And so if you are computer science curious, if you are, a propeller head from another STEM area, come on in, the water's fine, we welcome you here. This is a great place to kind of grow and transition, or even just to dive in a little bit deeper if you do have that undergraduate background in computer science. But if you don't, we have a summer bridge program that is offered prior to entry into the program. And this is essentially an accelerated version of our intro sequence where you learn intro to programming and some data structures in a very, very quick sequence of lessons over an intensive before the master's program starts. Beyond that, we have 4 core areas. This is a distribution degree, meaning that you can take classes within each of these 4 areas to complete the degree requirements. So within software and systems, you need to pick a minimum of 2 classes from that distribution. And then you need to pick at least one class from each of the other areas. So because you're all quants, you can probably count, and that's only 5 classes. So the other 4 classes mean you get to specialize. So if you're super into ethics and human-computer interaction, you can take more classes in the ethics and policy distribution or in the humans and design distribution. If you are super into machine learning and advanced AI, you can take some of the classes that we offer in the algorithms and complexity distribution to fill out the requirements for the 9 classes in the degree program. You can see at the bottom a bunch of our typical classes. As we grow, these are being developed, but this is a pretty reasonable sample of what we have on offer within these 4 core areas. Here's an example curriculum. So starting fall 24, you might jump in with some server-side programming in Python, take a data ethics class, learn some JavaScript programming. Then in the spring, move on to data engineering. So you learn about kind of enterprise systems architecture, SQL programming, and maybe computer networks. And then you take your first class in applied machine learning. So if you're into AI, you can kind of get your feet wet and start learning about how computers learn about the world through data. And then in the summer, another 3 classes, maybe cloud computing. You can go deeper on advanced machine learning, kind of learning about deep neural nets, adversarial networks, et cetera. And then maybe round it out with some human-computer interaction. And then we graduate you at the end of August, give you a high five, and send you on your way to go do awesome things out in the world. All right, details. 36 credits over 3 semesters or more. You can be taking this program over a longer period of time if you want to. 3 graduate classes, each semester is a lot to take on, especially if you're a working professional, though we do have many folks that have done this in our other programs in the past quite successfully. But if you need to dial it back, you can, and you can take 1 or 2 classes a semester and complete the degree over 24 or 36 months. Classes are offered in the evenings in downtown Portland. So convenient for those of you who do have day jobs, or even if you don't have a day job, but you want one before you're done with the program, this offers that flexibility as well. You can get an internship and still not have your classes interfere with the work that you're doing during the day. Scholarships and financial aid. If you happen to be lucky enough that you are an alumni of this wonderful institution, you automatically get a 20% discount on your tuition. However, we do consider every applicant for merit-based scholarships. If you are interested in a merit scholarship, make sure you get your applications in early because the earlier that you get in, the more merit money there is to dish out, and that dwindles as the recruiting cycle closes out throughout the year. The application process, pretty easy. It's a resume, your undergraduate transcript, an essay describing why you want to pursue this degree, and then 2 letters of recommendation. We will typically bring you in for a one-on-one interview with Hillary and a faculty member or myself to make sure that you're a good fit for the program. We do not require the GRE or GMAT, though if you have taken the GRE, you're welcome to submit those scores to us for consideration. We do require some basic programming experience. So you can think about this in the following sense. If you took, Computer Science 1 and Computer Science 2 as an undergraduate, that's what we're looking for. If not, then we want you to take our summer bridge program so to make sure that you're ready for our program before the fall semester. Early action deadline, December 15th. that's when our first round of applications will go under review with our admissions team, and we will start actually admitting folks shortly after the winter break. All right, so why Willamette? We have set this up to offer what is essentially a big school program, but with the small school quality that we are known for at Willamette. And so we have a lot of practice. We have a 50+ year history of teaching computer science in Oregon at the undergraduate level. This is our first graduate program in computer science, but the faculty that we have here are absolutely extraordinary, and they are so excited to kind of level up in these grad classes. We don't have big lecture halls. These are small, mostly in person. I should say the majority of your classes are in person. We do offer, on occasion, we will offer 1 or 2 electives online to offer some flexibility, but the vast majority are small in-person classes. Our faculty are, I should say they're more than just dedicated to teaching. They are obsessed with teaching. They are absolutely amazing at what they do. And they care. They spend time with you. They are there for you outside of class. They just want to make sure that you're succeeding. And we also have an established graduate data science program that has been pushing further and further into machine learning and AI. And this new computer science master's program can leverage some of the classes there, which you are allowed to take as electives within your master's program in computer science. And so if you're really interested in what this whole kind of AI revolution is all about, we've got the classes for you. And we are adding more every year as the field kind of grows and develops. It's also pretty darn convenient. I already mentioned that we do this in the evening once per week, and so a typical semester is each class is 1 night a week, and for 14 weeks. And if you're taking 3 classes, that's 3 nights a week for 14 weeks. Located in downtown Portland. For those of you who want to just get this done and over with, you can finish this in 12 months, and we are there to support you to make it happen. And of course, we have a large and growing network of alumni and really, really amazing industry friends, many of whom we're going to see at our October 27th Recoded event in Portland this year. But so many folks in the industry are excited that we're launching this program. They can't wait. It's such a need in the Portland area, and they really want to get their hands on our graduates. And so this alumni and industry group, great spot to network and get jobs. All right, Hillary, I think that's it for me. I'm happy to open it up for questions.
Excellent, thank you. Are there any questions from the group? Oh, that's a good one. Brian, do you want to ask that with your voice, or do you want me to read it for you? I see it in the chat.
Yeah, I can go ahead and ask it. My question is just if Willamette offers students or alumni help in job research.
We do. We have a dedicated career team and who they're there at orientation. They have specific programming and checklists available for you if you're looking for career help. Typically what happens is in the fall, we will have 2 or 3 career workshops that are offered to existing graduate students to come kind of get ready for the job search process. We have a large networking event, typically in October, where we bring all of our former students, alumni from our kind of programs, and then also friends of the program in industry for a big fun night of socializing and networking. That is often your first chance to get yourself out in front of potential employers. In the spring, typically what happens is that you will be provided a kind of to-do list, right? A checklist of things to become career ready. And we have career advisors that will be working with you on getting those checklists done. Like, do you have your elevator pitch? Is your LinkedIn profile updated? What does your resume look like? What are your portfolio projects that you want to talk about in interviews? Like, how many inquiries have you made? What's your plan for informational interviews, right? All of the kind of normal blocking and tackling that you need to do to get a job. They'll get you going. And then over the summer, often we have additional workshops on things like interview practice and state of the industry, what folks are looking for, and that sort of thing. But importantly, yes, we do have a dedicated career team who's available to you as part of this program.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kaylee, I see your question in the chat. Would you like to ask it with your voice?
Yeah. So I asked one of the faculty members, Jed, about this one, but I was curious if there were like any plans on having an option for a 3+1 BS/MS for CS.
We are working on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so it's just a matter of how fast we can work on it. We've got a lot of interest. I think it's a great idea. I'm sure you're familiar with our 3-1 in data science. That's been a big hit with our students. We just need to kind of get it through the bureaucracy, if I'm being perfectly honest.
Yeah, I get that. I was like, not this. For if it was like an option, or like for like next year, or like that's or in the future, like is there like an idea of like what kind of like what the undergrad like requirements would be for it?
So if it ends up getting modeled on the curriculum that we designed for our undergraduate data science accelerated pathway, then it's likely to be something on the order of 6 to 7 required undergraduate classes prior to your senior year. And then your senior year, you transition into graduate classes, and then you finish out with a full summer semester of graduate classes after your 4th year. So summer after your 4th year.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Are there any other questions from the group? Now, one thing I could bring up that I'm curious to hear your answer to is, I know we talked a little bit about the Summer Bridge program and its kind of its relevance to undergrad transcripts, right? So thinking about applicants who are coming straight out of school or maybe after like a little bit of a gap year or something. Can you speak at all to career changers coming in to join the program and the kinds of things we're going to look for on applications from folks who've been working for a little while?
Sure. Mostly what we're looking for is grit. Computer science is not something that has any shortcuts. You just have to get to it, make some mistakes, and be willing, to be a little frustrated at the beginning. And so we're looking for folks who are resilient, who aren't afraid to try, who aren't afraid to get their hands dirty and just get working, because honestly, the best way to do this work is just to do the work. And so whether or not you have an extensive undergraduate experience in programming, we're looking for other evidence of persistence and performance. And this can come across both in the classes that you took as an undergrad and kind of the rigor and performance there, but also in the way that you express yourself in your essay and the interview, giving us examples of persistence, resilience, and grit from a variety of experiences. It doesn't need to just be a tech experience. It could be, you know, babysitting your 6-year-old sister, which, believe me, takes a lot of grit. You know, but that's I think, you know, in terms of qualities that we're looking for in a great student. In terms of, you know, general background, I don't want to exclude anyone. I do think that folks who have some experience with a STEM field of one form or another will have an easier go of it than others. You know, so I do think that folks, you know, who maybe majored in chemistry or biology or, you know, environmental science, but who aren't finding the exact career that they want, or they want to kind of upskill in programming so that they can get their dream job in environmental science. You know, that's what we're here for. You know, we're here to help them stand out, you know, from other candidates, you know, in their kind of chosen discipline.
Sounds good. Thank you. Are there any other questions from our group today?
Yeah,
I have one more, if I may.
Go for it.
Sure.
So with the merit scholarship, I guess this is kind of like two questions in one. What is the cost of the master's program for CS, and then about how much money does the merit scholarship range from?
So I think we are at and so this is not for an accelerated program. So this is just, you know, sticker price, right? For a unaffiliated individual joining the master's program. Our price is, I think, around $5,900 per class. So I think that comes out to around $53,000 for the whole program. Merit scholarships range, you know, from, you know, a few $1,000s at the low end, you know, up to 50 or 60% of tuition for extremely high performers. So it's a broad range, I would say, in terms of what is on offer.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jameson. If there are any other questions from the group, this is a great time to ask. Okay, I'm not hearing any. I think we're okay to wrap it up here in a moment. Like I said, this is being recorded. You're welcome to go back and refer to it again. Jameson, thank you so much for presenting to us today. I also want to say hi to Lucas Cordova in the room. One of our faculty members teaching in our computer science department is here in the room with us as well. If anyone has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will be your primary contact as you work through the application itself, which is designed to be very straightforward. Remind you about December 15th as that first application deadline. Thank you so much for joining today. Please reach out if we can answer any further questions.